Can you hear me? Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Hope y'all are doing well. What's up,
Hey,
Robert?
Russell, how are you doing?
Just chilling, same old, same old. So first things first, while we wait and get everything 100% set up, we appreciate everyone for showing up. Shout out to all the support. Shout out to all the people who donated and minted to Project Aries. I will be giving and producing kind of just a video to update you guys on the future of where we're going to be going with phase two. But yeah, in this specific sit down with Robert, basically going to just hit him with some questions that one, we've kind of thought, kind of you could say hits everything we're curious about across the board to some degree. The conversation will begin here in this spaces publicly, but it will not end here. So keep in mind and remember that after we kind of depart from here or log off, so to speak, we are going to be
Well, for
doing
some reason I cannot hear, so let me quit
um,
and join again.
that's going to be uploaded too. So just be on the lookout. Hope everyone, what is it? Everyone's day was a good day. What is it? I'm sure Robert will be back here any second. Let's give some love in the chat. What is it? Oh, what's up, Nacho? I just saw Nacho pull up. Shout out to everybody who's just also been helping and kind of what is it? Working hard behind the scenes to kind of just set up Project Aries. Shout out Crypto Butters. Shout out Joe. Shout out Jason Brown. Shout out Super Vegeta. Shout out Trenchy. Shout out William. What is it? Who else is in here? Shout out Blue Regard, Blue Gird. Shout out what is it? Shout out Sam. But yeah, we're just vibing. We're just kicking it, and we'll just go from there. I could potentially play some music, but I don't have any set up, so I'm not going to attempt or try. Shout out Timo. He was the first one to make it into what is it? The private area with his NFT passport to pose a question. So good job on that, bro. But yeah, really, I just wanted to say excellent job these past like 11 days. I totally expected us to have to take the whole 3 months to get all 3,000 ABT. So the fact that we were able to pull it together in 11 days, kind of in, you could say what feels like a bear market, but in truth, just like an extreme bottoming and consolidation point. So again, clap, pat your guys on the back, give yourself a congratulations because you guys even surprised me 100%. with spaces. I requested. So now no.
A couple of minutes ago, looks like I can speak, but I can't hear anybody. But right now, even right now, my space is still very problematic. I can't see anybody's picture photo. I just see an empty screen. There's a lot of claps and a lot of hearts. That's really weird.
Gotcha. It's just bugging out for you. No worries. Well, if
Yeah, Elon
anything,
Musk has too many new things in his plate, so he don't have time to fix those small bugs.
I guess so. I guess that's what
Understand.
happens when you got like so many companies.
Now he has a super big company to run. Yeah, so.
True, true. If anything, what is it? Before we officially get into the questions, we know you were just recovering from getting, what is it? Recovering back from the flu. So we're glad you're doing better, thank God. But in the meantime, what else have you been up to?
How is my sound looks like? I think my voice is still not yet 100% recovered. I still need to drink a lot of water, and but I'm glad I'm back. Yes. So this time the flu is. I heard a lot of people around me get the flu, and basically my daughter get the flu from the school, and she was sick for a few days, and then basically my whole family was sick. Now we are just gradually back.
That's usually how it happens. Once one person gets sick, basically everyone else is about to get it in a little bit. But okay, cool. So if anything, let's jump into it because I know we're pressed for time. We don't have eternity. We have roughly an hour speaking. So first things first, again, thank you for taking the time to kick it with us, Robert. We truly appreciate it. The first question I wanted to throw to you is considering President Trump's victory and with it the rise of a new technology-focused administration. We see, David Sachs, the new crypto czar, the new crypto czar, trying to say that word properly. There's been executive orders and so forth. With some of the stuff that's already coming out, and maybe some of the things that you've seen behind the scenes, maybe people you're talking to, connections you have that we're not familiar with. What are you noticing? How is this helping ArcBlock, and how are you guys at ArcBlock going to be leveraging the next 4 years?
Yes, I think that's a very good question, and this is the question not just ArcBlock is thinking and looking forward. It's actually the whole industry, and I would say right now, it's just you see the new administration just take over for like 10 days, less than 20 days. There is a lot of change has happened. And I think this trend and this the whole speed is actually faster than I expected. Honestly, I'm very excited. And usually, those kind of government issue, when they need to change the law, then they need to change a lot of things. It usually takes like months or years. But this time, it looks like things are moving way much faster. So for any of the blockchain and crypto company, I believe in United States right now, include ourselves. And first of all, we are very excited and we're looking forward. There's some kind of a good change going to happen. But so far, even though we heard about the news, the SEC has a lot of kind of human resource and the position change, but they do have established some kind of a crypto working groups, and they're planning to they release a document that say that there's a few of the things they're working on, and but the final the framework and what eventually they're going to bring out, that's still yet to be done. I think we're going to closely monitoring and looking forward what they going to lay on the table and adjust accordingly. But for the what we can predict is we can predict, first of all, the whole blockchain crypto is definitely going to no longer like last 4 years. It's no longer no longer a hostile places that you constantly thinking and worry about if the government is going to chase you or do something after you. But I believe is the whole blockchain and crypto are going to more focus on the real innovation to bring something that is really have the real value, have the innovation, and and we still need to be very careful about the legal framework because innovation and the creativity is not the excuse for breaking the law or do something harm to others, right? But instead, if you have the very good will, have a good intention, and follow the framework and follow what existing, the law and especially the common sense, to do something that is, innovative, but it's still a little bit kind of cross the border, just for innovation with a goodwill. I think that potentially that's going to be the trend. Yeah. And one thing is, we definitely, even though the whole legal framework, the whole thing is not yet cleared, but we clearly understand that United States become the biggest market in the next 4 years, at least the next 4 years for the crypto and the blockchain. And so this is a big change because in the past 4 years, I believe people know us, know that I spent quite a bit of time thinking, okay, is there opportunities in Australia? There's an opportunity in New Zealand and in Japan, because Japan just passed some new laws that is make them more welcome to Web3. That is part is we want to expand to new market. Another reason behind that expansion is we are always looking for a place that, what if the whole what if the whole administration become super hostile, in the next few years, and really nobody can survive in this U.S. market. You need to find a place that you can at least do something correctly. But now I think the whole thing has been changed because everybody realized that U.S. is going to be the big market, and we should adjust most of the time and energy focused on thinking the U.S. market.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, to where, to some degree, we have some stuff coming out. There's been executive orders, there's been news, but we're still waiting for like finalized frameworks. And that does also make sense how you were mentioning, like, in the past, you were reaching out to, or trying to reach out to other countries, seeing what kind of work can be done with those governments. But now it's a total green light from America. So it makes sense you guys are going to try to reorient a lot of your time, energy, resources to building in America because you kind of have such a green light. Would that be like a good overview? Or if you wanted to expand on that more, feel free to.
Yeah, I think we still, since we already established a few of the partnerships overseas, and we're still going to continue working with them. But honestly, in the last couple of weeks, we have a lot of communication with them, and apologize for them, say that probably we're going to shift him most of the time on the U.S. market. And actually, they are pretty understandable because they are also very excited about the U.S. because they think when U.S. become more open, more friendly, and their government and their market is also going to change accordingly. Because in the past, everybody is actually looking at what the United States is doing, right? And unfortunately, like in the last 4 years, and things has been kind of slowly changed. But I'm so glad that American is back. That's really something exciting. Yeah.
Gotcha. No, same here, 100%. Shout out President Trump if you're listening, or if you're going to chime in at all. What is it? But no, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. For the most part, America has been like the face of innovation and kind of guiding the rest of the world in the direction it should go. We saw that, you could say, with like Web 1, we saw it with Web 2. It makes sense for it to happen in Web 3. And I'm sure, kind of like what you were pointing out, even though you're moving, say, a lot of your energy towards the United States more so now, it's not like it's completely burning the bridges for potential future work with these other countries, because they're going to be inspired by America, follow our standards, and then in the whole meantime, we've been producing products according to those standards. So that makes a lot of sense. What is it? Moving on from there, unless, is there anything else you wanted to say on that point or topic of government, crypto czar administration rolling in?
I think we can probably move on, and because right now it's we don't know what will exactly be there, right? So the best thing is before it's very clear, no, not very clear. The best thing is keep building, keep preparing. For example, I mentioned that I believe that in the new framework, the token issuing going to be no longer be a problem, and hopefully, an SEC going to have a very clear framework how to correctly legally issue the new token, right? And how to avoid to break the law or break the make yourself in trouble, because in the past it's basically like you were exploring in the forest. There's no guide and you you take your own risk. In the first Trump administration, so it's basically like there is no framework, there is no law, but the principle is if the law does not say this is illegal, right, then you can explore, and then you can, if you do things carefully, there is still a way that you can pathway you can potentially find. This is something that I feel in the first administration is there's no framework, but you feel free to explore and be careful and don't do something bad, right? But in the last administration, is basically like this is the forbidden place. Don't ever touch. If you ever touched, something is wrong. No matter what, we don't care, right? So at least I think if we can go back to the past, it will be already a great move forward, right? But I believe they're going to making this good framework, because I believe that blockchain and a token is one of the most important applications that can be that can take advantage of that can be built on blockchain, and it has a lot of advantage in the future than the traditional security and the traditional way to kind of redistribute a lot of things from the share, from something to the RWA, to a lot of things that can be tokenized. So this is if the SEC eventually can open up the tokenization legally with a good framework, I believe this is there's going to be endless opportunities for startups, for established companies to kind of booming up, right? So this is also something that everybody is looking into. So I already have a couple of the old friends, and in the traditional software and business industry already reached out to me. We're discussing, what if when something is, what if when the government become more clear, and very likely a lot of those people are going to onboard, tokenize their old business, their existing business. This is going to be huge. This is a very, very huge market. But before we guess, we just kind of keep preparing, do something, and hope the government eventually give us a clear framework to follow.
Gotcha. No, 100%. That makes, I appreciate you kind of detailing that out a little bit more. What is it? Moving on then, or I was also just going to say at another point or at some time, I want to pick your brain on the token concept, because I've heard you mention in the past that a token can be used for a variety of different unique applications, and we're only still beginning to imagine or understand what those applications could be. So maybe not in this one, but maybe another one. I want to come back to that. But moving on to the next question, we have the anticipated and probably the most anticipated thing everyone is looking forward to in ArcBlock, which is ArcSphere. We know it's still under development. There are still some things you guys are working on and tweaking out. What can you tell us about ArcSphere? Any updates on potentially when it might drop? And then is there anything you could also elaborate on in the reasons for kind of producing it, making it, and so forth?
Yeah. So so everybody heard about we talk about the ArcSphere for many times, but still very few people was invited to try our crappy, little beta right now. The biggest hurdle right now, we are still working on it, is actually something related to the power change, right? So imagine why we need to build ArcSphere. So ArcSphere is a new browser, right? So why we need to build a browser? The major reason is try to solve a problem that if you are going to build a new decentralized apps, right? Then today you have two choices. One choice, you build this as a web app, right? It's just a website, and as a web app, it has a lot of user experience issues. for example, you are it's slower and it's not gives you the native feeling like an app. But actually, decentralized apps, because it depends on the wallet, on the blockchain, it already have a little bit kind of a drawback compared to the traditional apps. To make the user experience really good, you really need to have a lot of place to lift up, right? But if you cannot make that as a native app, give it a native feeling, so itself is already kind of losing the start line, right? But if you want to build that as a real mobile apps, I know that in our community, I know our community members and friends, they're building, when they try to build some kind of apps that has these kind of decentralized features, they're constantly hit the problem from the App Store review. And this App Store review is not just necessary by some big companies, it's also because of local law. There's, especially in the Europe, there's a lot of new regulations, a lot of hurdles that you want to get if you want to get an app into the iPhone or into an Android phone. It's not like a couple of years ago. There's a lot of things that you have to consider, and sometimes they're going to reject you because of certain things, right? So, so in this background, if we can build a neutral browser app, so they can categorize it exactly like a Safari, Chrome, which is a browser. The browser basically means it not has any centralized server. It does not. It can connect to anywhere, right? So in the browser, you can do anything. You could do something very good. You can do something bad, but it's neutral. You don't know, right? And also the browser can process credit card, can access payment, can run exchange, basically can do anything. And because it's do nothing. So that's a way you can have this kind of browser application eventually be able to kind of break out the review issues with all those kind of major App Store and jurisdictions about what specifically on your app can do, right? So we want to intentionally make the ArcSphere as close as categorized as a browser, so it can pass all the App Store reviews. And once you have this kind of very generic browser, and we add some kind of new features into this browser, this is a new generation browser. It's based on, it's built on top of today's web browsers, but we add a bunch of new things into this browser. For example, it's native connected to major blockchains. So blockchain no longer need to be some kind of additional service that you power, you build that in your application, but instead this browser already natively connect to all the major blockchain, right? And it automatically connected to the crypto processing. So that is to say, you can use that to transfer and accept payment with the crypto without a need to handle with a credit card, right? And also it has the native support for the DID, like DID domains, and a bunch of those kind of advanced things on top of the browsers. And then all the DApps running on this ArcSphere browsers going to have the native user experience. So eventually when this can be ready, any of those DApps running on ArcSphere, technically it's just a website. It's technically the website, but the user experience is a native app. It's a completely native app. You can tell this is a website. And so we want to, so this product is kind of like strategically, we want to make a kind of neutral platform to host any DApps that break the silo and break the review policies and the difficulties across most of those kind of jurisdictions. And so that eventually gives the DApps a better user experience, and while we're not have to not have to deal with the App Store review, one by one. So this is a very ambitious goal, but when we want to do that, you see, so there is a lot of border we want to cross, right? So we have to fight with every App Store review jurisdictions to ensure that, okay, if there is something they say this is potentially this is not going to kind of meet the requirement, and then we need to negotiate and say what we can change, what we can make this kind of works. We believe it works because all those browsers be able to do that, right? It's not just a Safari and Chrome. There's a lot of other browsers, all of them eventually will be able to sit on all the stores across every country. But it's not, you don't have this kind of luxury for wallet. For example, DID wallet, we are from very early on, we are not able to provide the download for China region because Chinese government does not allow App Store to approve that, right? So DID wallet is not available for China since beginning, and they're constantly Apple or Google send us emails, and we have to fight back and forth because some governments say that they're going to have new regulation. If you don't do that, we're going to kind of delist you from the store. So this is happening all the time. Whoever try to build up apps doing this, you're going to probably hit this kind of problem, once or twice, or sometimes they're going to hit you every few months. It's very annoying. But if we can build this, ArcSphere that can be categorized as a browser, and this hopefully can solve a lot of problems. So that's the real goal behind that. That's also the reason that it takes longer than we thought.
No, yeah, definitely, Robert. I appreciate you kind of detailing a few of the other issues and kind of concepts or things to consider that I normally wouldn't think of and that most of us wouldn't think of. But yeah, personally, I kind of understood the idea of ArcSphere, allowing websites in and of themselves, like say if you just build something with the Pages kit, it can then have the native feel of a native app. But the consideration or the extra mile you guys are taking for trying to just create a bridge that crosses all the T's, dots all the I's that regulators, governments are looking for, but for the most part allows people to go 0 to 1 a lot easier, a lot quicker. So I think that's super bullish, super ambitious, like you said. And so it makes total sense. You got to make sure you're doing it right. And you have to consider all these different, legal frameworks, but then at the same time, applications and whatnot.
Yeah. So we are still, our team is still kind of dedicated working on this. And so it's coming. And I believe it worth the wait, right? Because,
No, I 100% agree with you, Robert. You haven't told me something and it wasn't worth the wait. So I totally agree that it will be. And, the way you've described it and kind of what you're detailing, it sounds super interesting just because I don't exactly see anyone else attempting to do that where, we're going to try to build somebody or we're going to try to build an application that allows other people to build better applications more natively, easierly, and then get into the app store in a way where so many other people can use it and you don't have to worry about all this, regulatory bullcrap. Speaking of regulatory bullcrap, let's move over to something I know a lot of people in here are curious about, the Doge proposal that ArcBlock is kind of riding up and considering. I know to some extent that's kind of like, with the other government stuff, it's too early to say. But considering that you guys made a post about it, what would you have in mind for Doge? I know you made a thread. Can you break that thread down a little bit more for us? And how could verifiable credentials, DIDs, NFTs, whichever they be, how could self-sovereign identities integrate and upgrade the government, you could say, system?
Yeah.